All right, hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, let me give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I would like to give double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that do rule exceptionally well. And also, let me say shalom, salutations, mercy, and blessings to all the sincere brothers that's out there that push this word with truth and with faith. Shalom unto you. My name is Tapawa Amath of Great Millstone Northwest. I'm coming back with another HADABAR HAYAWAM in hopes that I can help brothers increase their vocabulary and understand how to use Hebrew words properly in the Lashon Kodash. The word that I want to go through today is the word to taste, which is a very simple word. All right, the word is ta'im. All right, it's made up of a ta, a I, and a ma. You find it at the Strong's H2938, and it's only found in the qual form, so it's a very simple one. Hopefully, as I move forward, I can keep finding more simple words and a better way to explain it too, so that way we don't have a long video. All right, I consider 30 minutes or 40 minutes going into a word as a long video, and I realize that Jake's attention span isn't really there for that. So hopefully as we move forward, I'll be able to deliver these messages in a quicker manner to where it can keep the interest of the brethren. But let's go into this word ta'im, which means to taste. Now, I chose this word because we just recently went over the word akal, which means to eat. And I figured just going into a word that's going to be simple like that would be the best bet. Let's do it like this. Let's type in what it is. It's the Strong's H 2938. So here in the Blue Letter app, we'll just type it in right there. Okay, and actually we'll go into this because this uses it perfectly in the Psalms. First Samuel chapter 14. We'll start reading right here at verse 24. It says Saul's foolish order, and we'll go through it until we get to our word, and then we'll just go into the meaning of the word. All right, so this is one of the good example of how it's used in the scriptures. It says and the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Saul had adjured the people, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged of my enemies. So none of the people tasted any food. Now, when you go and read 1 Samuel, the 14th chapter, you know that Israel and the Philistines are at war with each other underneath King Saul. And Jonathan and his arm bearer just made a way for Israel to come up on a huge victory of the battle where they spoiled the Philistines. However, even though that had happened, Saul had put out this order for no man to eat. So all the people of Israel, all the men of Israel that was at war were fasting. And when you fast, you're not really, especially for physical movement such as being in war, you won't be 100%. So the people were troubled. That's why it says they were distressed that day. Okay, reading on at verse 25, it says, And they of the land came to the wood, and there was honey upon the ground. And when the people were come into the wood, behold, the honey dropped, but no man put his hand to his mouth, for the people feared the oath. But Jonathan heard not when his father charged the people with the oath, wherefore he put forth the end of his rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in a honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes were enlightened. Then answered one of the people and said, Thy father straitly charged the people with an oath, saying, Cursed be the man that eateth any food this day. And the people were faint. And then said Jonathan, My father have troubled the land. See, I pray you, how my eyes have been enlightened, because I have tasted a little honey. I have tasted a little of this honey. How much more, if haply the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies, which they found. For had there had there not been now a much greater slaughter among the Philistines. So he's like, man, my father, he put this oath out, and that was foolish of him, because we would have, kicked butt even more had the people been able to eat, man, and had they not been on this fast. Let's read this in the NLT and see if that opens it up a little bit better of how we speak today. All right. It says, Now the men of Israel were pressed to exhaustion that day, because Saul had placed them under an oath, saying, "Let a curse fall on anyone who eats before evening, before I have full revenge on my enemies." So no one ate anything that all day. Even though they had all found honeycomb on the ground in the forest, they didn't dare touch the honey because they all feared the oath they had taken. But Jonathan had not heard his father's command, and he dipped the end of his stick into a piece of honeycomb and ate the honey. After he had eaten it, he felt refreshed. But one of the men saw him and said, "Your father made the army take a strict oath that anyone who eats food today will be cursed. That is why everyone is weary and faint." "My father has made trouble for us all," Jonathan exclaimed. A commandment like that only hurts us. See how refreshed I am now that I have eaten this little bit of honey." If the men had been allowed to eat freely from the food they found among our enemies, think how many more Philistines we would have killed. So he's like, we would have, yeah, we got a victory, but we would have did way better had we been able to eat. All right, which is a good this is a good example to be used to show that, you don't do anything that's gonna harm the body. You don't put out anything that's gonna be foolish to harm the body. All right, you always want to be beneficial onto the body. All right, and I'm speaking about the body of the truth. You don't, as a leader, you don't want to put out a commandment that's going to harm those that are following you. You always want to feed the flock and do well on behalf of the flock, man. Not to be overbearing or anything like that to where it's going to harm the flock. But the word that we're going into today is the word ta'im, and you find that word right here in verse let me see. Verse 29, where it says, "I tasted a little honey." That's where you're going to find this word ta'im. All right, so let's look at that. I tasted ta'im, the Strong's 2938 ta'im, and the word just means to taste or to perceive or to eat, and it's only used in the qual form of to taste. The qual verbal stem is a simple action, active voice. It's a straightforward word, a straightforward action, and it's the subject performing the action. Okay, in the Strong's definition, we have to taste, figuratively to perceive and to taste. Okay, so this word is very straightforward. However, you do have a noun that goes under the same name of ta'im, which means is to taste, and that's more so of like how the scriptures speak about how Moab hasn't lost his taste. He hasn't been moved from place to place like others, so he hasn't lost his taste. That's what is that, Jeremiah 48? Let's take a look at that as a small little tidbit. All right, Jeremiah chapter 48, because as I had mentioned in a word, in one of these words of the day before, sometimes you have nouns that directly correlate with the verb, and they'll share that it'll be the same word for both. All right, like for example, the word king is the word malak, and the verb that goes with king as a noun, king being a noun, the verb meaning an action that goes along with the king is to reign. What does a king do? A king reigns. All right, REIGN. All right, so the word to reign as a verb is the same word. It's malak. It's a verb instead of it being a noun. All right, for the Lashon Kodash. When we come here to Jeremiah chapter 48, and we come down here to verse 11, it says, "Moab have been at ease from his youth, and he have settled on his lees, and have not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither hath he gone into captivity. Therefore his taste remained in him, and his scent is not changed." When you look at this word taste here in this scripture, okay, speaking about how Moab haven't gone into all these different captivities, they are able to trace their lineage all the way back to their different dynasties that they've had, because no one has come and just conquered over Moab as a people. Not like how Israel has been completely discontinued from their heritage. Moab can go back centuries upon centuries on their in their heritage, man. Okay. It says they haven't been emptied from vessel to vessel or have gone into captivity. It says therefore has his taste. And you see that the word taste is still here. However, when you look it up, it tells you that the speech of it is a noun. Okay, let's go into the word. So this is it's a masculine noun, and it means taste, judgment. Okay, in the definition it says properly a taste. All right, prescription, by implication, intelligence, transitively, a mandate, advice, behavior, decree, discretion, judgment, reason, taste, understanding. So their behavior, Moab is able to still, you got Moabites that still do what the ancient Moabites do because their taste hasn't been removed from them. Okay, so the scripture, it may say taste, and you might find the same word, ta'im. However, depending on how it's being used, speaking about something, you actually tasting something like food, or even tasting something in a figurative sense. All right, versus it being a noun, a physical thing. Okay, so I just wanted to show the difference of that there, man, and hopefully you got a better understanding of this word ta'im, which is the word to taste. Okay, or even speaking about your behavior, if it's a long-lasting behavior, that being a taste, as we see here in Jeremiah 48:11. So hopefully that made sense, and hopefully the message itself was received, and I'm gonna go ahead and say shalom.